Hello there, a warm welcome to the final whistle with me, Kenzie Benali.
And me, Steve Forbes.
Well, today Southampton have earned themselves a point at Old Trafford, and Dean Hammond and Franny Benali are back with us to discuss that match. Dean, we'll come to you for your thoughts first. I mean, goalless draws are rarely that entertaining, are they?
It was a brilliant goalless draw. It was. I'm emotionally drained, if I'm honest, Kenzie. It was a really good game to watch. Before the game, we would have all taken a point. But the chances we created, I suppose, there's a slight disappointment. But you have to say, a brave performance. Credit to the players. Created lots of chances. Not many teams create that many chances at Old Trafford. I know Man United had 10 men, but even 11 v 11, Southampton were very, very good. They looked to a real threat. Looked really well organised defensively. And just some vital moments that just wouldn't quite go for Southampton today. Hitting the woodwork, 1v1s, getting in some great positions. But I thought they passed the ball really well today, Southampton. That's the best I've seen for a while. They kept possession. They moved the ball through the thirds. They all looked really comfortable in possession. The shape of the team, the balance of the team looked very, very good. The team looked really fit in terms of when the counter-attack, there was a number of players getting forward, making those long bursting runs and then recovering to get back into the shape. I thought the three midfield players were excellent today. James Ward-Prowse, Lavia, Alcaraz, when he was on the pitch, was a real problem for Man United in that kind of number 10 role. And then Bazunu, when he was needed, made some fantastic saves. I think that's the best performance I've seen from him in a Southampton shirt, and that will do him a world of good. Another clean sheet. That's 3 now in the last 4 Premier League games. So fantastic, really. The only disappointment, we just couldn't take one of those chances and be a little bit more clinical, but a great game to watch. And, that's the first point of the 3 or 4 that we really want from this week, and we'll put Southampton in a much stronger position. So I'm smiling, but a little bit greedy. It would be nice to get the 3 points, I must admit.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, isn't it, Dad? Because as Dean mentioned there, we would have all taken a point, I think, before the match, but we are finding ourselves feeling a bit greedy. It felt like the 3 points were there for the taking. What were your overall reflections on the game?
Yeah, echoing the thoughts of Dean, really. I mean, I was really impressed with the way that we started. I thought it was almost like starting how we would do it in a home fixture, pressing United, putting them under pressure in all areas of the pitch, very much in the game, looking a real confident and organised side with a lot of energy and purpose. When those chances came along, that's just the side of me that is frustrated today. Once United went down to 10 men and Casemiro sending off, I'm disappointed we haven't been able to capitalise on the chances we created. They were good enough to have taken one. You could argue maybe that Gavin Bazzuno's had to make a number of saves, which he was, there to do his job. But whenever you go to Old Trafford, as we said pre-match, if you're going to come away with something, you need your team to be performing well, playing well, goalkeepers making saves, being brave, being positive, and we're all that today. So I think at the very least we deserve the 1 point, but the frustration is that we haven't been able to capitalise and take all 3.
Dean, you spoke about Southampton being good value when it was 11 v 11. What did you make of the game as a whole during that period, and also that glorious chance for Theo Walcott anywhere but at David De Gea, and it would have given Saints the lead?
It would, Steve. I would say it was a very even game. Both teams trying to win the game. Man United obviously were a threat with their pacing behind and their attacking players, but so was Southampton. Like I mentioned previously, I thought they were so good in possession, so brave, confident playing out from the back, playing through the thirds, opening up Manchester United, getting into opportunities. And then the chance for Theo Walcott came from really good play from Alcaraz, his movement, and then he went past 2 players, I think, really good body movement, good balance. We get a bit of a ricochet deflection, comes out to Pero, and he just stands the ball up. And the movement of Theo Walcott's really, really good. When it goes out to Pero, he kind of goes behind Luke Shaw and just buys his time. And then just as the cross is coming in, he darts and sprints and gets across Luke Shaw. And all the way I'm thinking it's a goal. He has such a good contact with it. He gets such good power on the header, but unfortunately it's straight at David De Gea. And if he just kind of almost not got such a good contact on it, I think he scores. And I think at that point, Southampton would have been fully deserving the lead because it was a really good away performance. Franny said, I think the energy from the players was brilliant. They looked really strong, the willingness to move off the ball for each other. They weren't intimidated by being at Old Trafford, and I think that's the biggest compliment I can give them. So big chance for Theo Walcott. And I said before the show, I probably jinxed it, to be honest. I feel as though he's the best finisher at the football club. And I wanted to see him in those areas and getting those opportunities. And he probably had one or two today. And the header was the best chance of the game. It was great movement, good play, good contact, good save. But I think he will be slightly disappointed and feeling as though he probably should have scored.
Well, let's find out what the fans thought following that match this afternoon. Paris on Twitter has said, I'll take that draw. Saints FC. Sellers Ball on Twitter has said, we have to be happy with that point. Yes, could have perhaps been 3, but it's United away. Proudly has said, good point away from home, although 3 were there for the taking. Wednesday now the biggest game of the season. Harry on Twitter, hello to you, has said, could have won that. So end to end, another day we take all 3. Prousey and Lavia ran the show. Peter getting in touch on YouTube as well. He says brilliant saves from Gav. And a comment here on Facebook from Stuart Carr. He says United down to 10. Missed opportunity from Saints with the chances. Should not be happy with a point. Let's talk about the red card then, shall we, Dad? That was the big talking point from the first half, of course. What did you make of that?
It's a red card. And that's not just wearing our Saints hat at all. You know, everything about it was a red card for me. I noticed a few points on social media at half time about, you know, how's that a red card, or he's won the ball first. First and foremost, he's off the ground. So he's out of control. That's first and foremost. You know, so both feet are off the ground. He's travelling at force. Yes, there is contact with the ball initially, but then his boot goes over the ball and to the right into Alcaraz's shin. So he's endangered opponent. It was with force. He was stud showing, feet off the ground, lunging at the ball, and catching his opponent. So everything about it is in the rule book as a red card. So no surprise to see Anthony Taylor make that decision once he was referred to the VAR screen.
All right, well, Franny, very decisive in his assessment of that red card, Dean. What did you make of it? And also those 2 penalty appeals for Manchester United in the first half.
I agree with Franny. It's definitely a red card, just because Casemiro's he's not in control, really. Once you slide, once you're out of control of your body, it's very, very difficult for it not to be a red card. His studs are showing. He tackles on top of the ball. So as this... you can be kind of fooled as his foot hits the ball and thinking, oh, he's won the ball first. But because he's travelling at such speed and he's out of control, he can't stop the follow-through. And the follow-through is where the damage could really cause a bad injury for Alcaraz. So I could see his disappointment, and I don't think there was intent for him to hurt the player, but it's a strong tackle and he's out of control. So I've no doubt with the red card, and it didn't really take the referee much time to really make that decision once he'd seen it slowed down, once he'd seen it on the monitor. And I think that gives you the biggest clue that we can have on that decision. So right decision for me. The 2 penalties, I don't think so, really. The one on Fernandez, I think Cole Walker-Peters gets the ball. Is there a slight follow through? Maybe, but he's already win the ball, and he wins the ball clean there. So I don't think that's a penalty. Bella Kotcher with the handball, he kind of slips, and I would suggest it hits his chest first, and he pulls his arm away. Is there a slight touch on his arm? Maybe, but I don't think is a penalty. Difficult to judge, really, because I don't think any of us are really clear on the handball rule in terms of the Premier League or football now. So, in my opinion, it's not a penalty, because there's no intent to try and use his hand to gain an advantage. He just slips, it hits his chest, and maybe deflects off his arm. So I'd have been really disappointed if either of those penalties would have been given. But in the old days, Franny would know this, at Old Trafford, anything could be given. So we might have got away with one there, but my opinion, definitely not penalties.
Well, where do we even start, Dad, with the chances in the second half? I mean, 3 times the woodwork was hit, and another great chance for Theo Walcott.
Yeah, it was indeed, wasn't it? And, you know, Prousey came so close. I don't think you can come much closer, really, can you, to getting level with David Beckham on 18 free kicks. You know, the second he struck it, you think it's there. And you saw the replay with De Gea, and he was rooted. He was almost just watching the flight of the ball. There was no effort to save it. I don't think that was out of confidence that it wasn't going to go in. I genuinely believe he just was waiting for it to to go into the back of the net. And unfortunately for us, it just clipped the point of the post and the bar. Kyle Walker-Peters' strike was a wonderful shot. Again, you just get a little bit lucky, or you don't in those sort of scenarios. It could go in off the post. It went away. So that was another good chance. And then the breakaway was, again, another very good one for Theo. And I guess that's the disappointment today, is that he's had two good chances, the header, as Dean was talking about, in the first half, and then the breakaway again. I think maybe just his second touch probably didn't help him, take him onto his left foot, couldn't really get across Martinez. And in the end, it was a left-footed effort that De Gea saved. So, we've had games where we haven't had anywhere near the amount of good chances we've had today, and we haven't capitalised on. So that is a disappointment and frustration. But again, we've got to flip these things into positives. It's a clean sheet, third clean sheet in 4 games under Ruben's management now, and we're seeing clear signs of being a much tighter team to play against. But we've just got to capitalise on these chances when they do come along, and none more so than Wednesday now. It sets us up perfectly for Wednesday night. We've got to bring the passion, the enthusiasm, the willingness, I think, to go and win a game of football. And it's going to be a huge game now against what will be a difficult opponent again.
Well, on the positives of keeping a clean sheet, a great couple of saves from Gavin Bazunu today, Dean, especially that one from Bruno Fernandes. What did you make of him and also the defence overall, I suppose?
I thought he was brilliant, Steve. I think, like I say, that was the best performance I've seen him in a Southampton shirt. He looked really, really confident. It's like a goal scorer, not scoring for a long time and then getting 2 or 3 in 2 or 3 games. That's his 3rd clean sheet now, which will do him a world of good, especially it's his debut season at this level. I think he started the game well. There was a couple of times that he made a save from Rashford early on, but his awareness and to sense danger, to come off the line, he came and smothered a couple of things early on as well, which was really, really good. The save just before half time from the free kick, I can't remember who was at the back post, but he made a really, really good save, made himself big, stretched his arms. And then the one in the second half against Fernandes was brilliant. It really, really was, because that had curl on it, it had dip, and it bounced just in front of him. And as the ball bounced and skids off the turf, it gains speed and momentum. So a really, really good save. And he had that luck on his side that it hits the post and doesn't go in. It hits the post and goes out. So I thought he was very, very good today. And that Fernandes save as well was really important, because he's not had a lot to do today. So it showed his maturity. He showed that he's concentrating on the game when he's not having a lot to do. So really, really good. And defensively, Bella Kocha, Bednarak gaining a bit of a partnership and looked very, very solid. Kyle Walker-Peters defensively in one-on-one situations looked good, looked fit going forward, just making those driving runs forward. And Pero, really reliable. On that left-hand side, he'll get himself forward, he'll get in good crossing positions. The cross for Theo Walcott, really intelligent, just stands it up. A few opportunities, he tries to drive a ball across as well. Again, looks really fit and sharp for a player that's not been in the team for a couple of weeks. So the back 4 and the goalkeeper today, very, very good, and really impressive. And they had been for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And if we hadn't conceded that goal at Leeds, that would be 4 clean sheets out of 4 games, which is really impressive.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Senkig Tully on YouTube is joining the conversation about Gavin. He's got in touch saying, great game for Bazunu. We've got a few comments here to read as well. Ryan Ackland getting on touch. He's a regular viewer here with us on Saints Live in the final whistle. He says 3 points against Brentford now are vital. We've got tickets to that match, which I'm excited about. Well, hopefully it'll be a brilliant evening for you. Marcus Mansfield said, really pleased with the result, but we should have won it. Johnny B on Twitter, a point at Old Trafford is never a bad thing. That's certainly for sure, Dad. But is it a point gained, or does it kind of feel like 2 points dropped? How are you looking at things?
I think, again, I don't know how everyone feels, but there's a side of me that is both, a bit of both. Clearly, if you can't win a game of football, try not to lose it. And we've done that with another good performance. So many positives, which we've touched on already. Individual performances, team performances, the way Ruben has set the team up. A lot of good stuff from today. But there is that frustration that we haven't taken at least one of those to maximise the points today. So that adds a little bit of pressure. But, when you come away from today and any disappointment, we'll look forward. We'll look to the Brentford match now. 2 home games on the bounce, which if we put anything in like those kind of performances as we have done today, then we'll, I'm hopeful that we'll come out of it with more than the 4 points that I thought would be good before we kicked off today.
It is Brentford next in the Premier League. Dean, what are your thoughts ahead of that one? Because Southampton could climb up to 16th with a win.
I think that's the incentive, Steve. You think a few weeks back, we would almost be thinking that was a dream, really. But to go into the Brentford game at home after some really good performances of late, it's going to be a tough game. Brentford have had a really good season. They're very effective at what they do. They're strong, they're organised. They've got some good attacking players. So it's going to be a tough game. But that's all you need in that dressing room, that speech before. Get out of the bottom three, get up to 16th. That would take Southampton, I think, above Leicester, who they beat last week. That pulls them back in as well. Puts pressure on some bigger teams down there, so-called of West Ham and Everton and Leicester, like I just mentioned. So you just need that, really, and that just will make you run that extra yard, make that tackle, cover the ground for your teammate, and just continue the performances, because they've been very, very good. Defensively, we look strong now, we look organised, but we look more confident on the ball as well. There's players that want to have the ball, they want to get on the ball, they want to play forward, they want to risk a pass now. Players making runs in behind. Theo Walcott today was brilliant at making those runs in behind. 2 or 3 occasions he almost got in. And just continue that. Put pressure on Brentford. Ask questions of Brentford. But I'm feeling good about it. You need that as a player. To get out of the bottom 3 to win the game at home at St Mary's, that's all you need, I think.
Yeah, Dad, I think that's fair. Southampton's league position doesn't seem to be reflected in the confidence amongst both the players, it seems, and the fans as well. How are you feeling ahead of that Brentford game?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic, Kens. I think what we've seen in recent weeks and performances and results, there's a lot of positivity and a lot of hope to look ahead. But having said that, there's still a huge amount of work to be done. We can't underestimate the position we're in still. The incentives there, as Dino's just touched on, a win we know takes us out of the bottom 3. What else do you want? It's still in our hands. It's just keeping that mindset of we're in a fight, we're in a scrap still, but there's a lot of teams in and around us. So it's keeping your nerve, it's still keeping that belief. We don't look like a side that is bottom of the table at all. The way that we're playing, the confidence we're showing, and we've got to continue that, regardless of how games come over the coming weeks. We've just got to keep taking it one game at a time. And yeah, the Brentford match is going to be a huge one to set into the tone for the rest of the season now.
Good stuff. Well, Franny and Dean, thank you so much for joining us on both Saints Live and the Final Whistle today. Well, a valuable point up at Old Trafford for Southampton today. Next up, it is Brentford on Wednesday under the lights at St Mary's with kickoff at 7:30. We'll be back for another edition of Saints Live then. So until then, enjoy your week and we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.